everyone? Carlos Flores, back on basics. So tonight, or today, or tonight, whichever you're watching, this video I will talk about the importance of emotional intelligence, the importance of how to know, how to learn, uh, how to adapt using emotional intelligence in all aspects of your life. But before we begin, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Back on Basics 9985. Hit the notification button so that way you can get alerted when new videos come on board. Like I said in the last video, we have over 88 videos now, all kinds of videos. Hit the like button so that way I know that you like the topic. That way I can go over a little bit more. I can expand on certain stuff, or I can take a subtopic of that topic that you love or that you like. And if you have a specific topic that you want me to talk about, put it in the comments section, and I'll be happy to give you my take on the specific topic that you have a question on or that you're requesting for me to do. So, emotional intelligence. It's not a new topic, not a new way of thinking about how you live, leadership style, how you deal with people, how do you deal with people within your support system and outside of your support system. Emotional intelligence is how you are, the driving force that keeps you going. It's interesting because I've said this in the past couple of videos is that I've been getting better. I'm still not 100% better from my illness that I've had, but I made a decision when I went back to school that I was going to wear a mask, which I did, right? It's way beyond, and some of you know that during the holiday break, I actually had COVID, but I wore a mask today, even though it was beyond the time that it is recommended for you to wear a mask. But I still have this cough, and it's a little bit colder right now. The weather's a little bit colder, so I wanted to wear a mask because one, I didn't wanna be coughing out and just coughing out and people thinking that I might be sick of this or having this or that. But at the same time, I did not want to get reinfected or get sick again with some kind of cold or some kind of other disease. And so I actually told myself in the morning, as soon as I get out of my car and walk into school, I'll be wearing a mask and I won't take it off until I am done for the day, which I did. And it was a little bit different because, again, if I'm wearing a mask, right? Let's say I was wearing something like this. A lot of people, most of the people know who I am, but some of the people did not realize that that I had been ill, and so what I did is I tried to communicate for them to have peace of mind because I was protecting myself and I was protecting them as well. So that's an example of knowing how to utilize emotional intelligence. It's about building a two-way relationship, a two-way collaboration. It's your support system in a sense. Your support system are the ones that will tell you how it is, will know how to talk to you in the way that you will understand. So that way you don't feel like you're being pressured or you're being singled out, but in fact, you're just being told of something that you need to process as a person and then make decisions whether you want to adapt or you want to do a little bit more investigating in your surroundings. And so emotional intelligence is a lot of things that we've been talking about. Is knowing yourself, is knowing others, is knowing how to how to accomplish your goals, is knowing your higher power. And so those are the things that can drive the way you feel, right? I wasn't feeling at my best today, and I wasn't, but I was still interacting with my students. I was still helping them out. I still ran my groups, and still I interacted with parents. I interacted with teachers. I wanted to make sure that everybody felt that even though, right, I just came off from an illness, that I was still giving it my how I communicated both verbally and non-verbally. And so that's one of the things that, emotional intelligence actually can provide others. It's kind of like assurance that you are still doing what you need to do, what you want to do, and reaching your goals regardless of what's going on around you. Um, I mean, there's so many different examples. I can actually give you a perfect example. When I was in high school, um, I I was actually walking to high school. This is senior year. I was taking a driver's ed class, and so when I was walking to Richmond High School, this was in Richmond, California, by the way. I was walking to Richmond High School. As I was walking by a park, there was a couple of guys in a car that stopped me, and said, "You better run because we're gonna kill you." And so I started running without hesitation. I started running, and so I ran. I went through streets. They would follow me. I got so tired that I was just walking, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. On my way to school, I didn't head back home. I didn't want to head back home because I didn't want them to know where I live, and so, um, it was difficult, but at the same time, uh, follow me slowly, and then they would tell me, okay, you better run or we're going to do this to you. And so I would, and I would just start running. And so at that time, when something like that was going on, I needed to take a look at how I was assessing how I was feeling at that moment, and set that aside and do what the psychology term that I've always used, either fight or flight. And for the most part, I chose flight because it was the hardest thing. I mean, I, so I ran all the way to the high school. Um, Before that, though, and most people don't know this, before that, they did shoot at me, and so it was interesting because, and it just kicked up the notch, and it was not just about safety; it was about survival. And so, I mean, at that point, I looked upon myself and said, I'm not gonna stop. Even if my legs give out, I'm just gonna go all the way to school. And I just didn't even know what was gonna happen at school. So when I got to school, there were a couple of friends. Actually, there were a number of friends from the football team because that was my senior year. And so they were sitting and just hanging out. I came in and I said, "Hey, this is what's happening." Uh, and so my nickname at that time was Socks. Can you imagine that? It's because I would have my socks all the way up. Now that's one of the styles. I actually was wearing socks all the way up, and that's why they called me Socks. They said, "Socks, sit right next to us. We won't let anything happen." And literally, my friends were on one side. I was sitting next to them, and these guys were sitting right next to me. Uh, and because my friends were there talking to me, the players from the team, uh, one of my good friends stood up and said, Is there a problem here? Are you here to what are you here? What are your intentions? You better get going because look at us. There were about there were about five or six of my friends, and so um, the two guys ended up getting up and walking away. I wasn't even paying attention to them at that point. I mean, my emotions were just going in many different directions. All I could think about is, holy crap, I am so lucky that I got to school and my teammates were there. And so after that, uh, they actually saw how I was feeling, and so they actually debriefed me. Because at that point in high school, they were my support system. Besides my parents and besides my ex family, they were my support system, and so they debriefed me and made sure that with me, they made sure that I was okay. The rest of the day was a blur. I didn't even remember. As soon as I got home and my parents realized what was going on, what went down, they told me not to attend driver's ed class because I was trying to learn how to drive. So I went early. Driver's ed class started at 7:30. School started at 8 something. I was actually early, so I was going around 7, and just my luck, these two guys were there where I was walking. So I didn't show up the next day. I didn't walk. I mean, I walked with my friends. My friends came to get me, and we walked to school. Um, then I heard from somebody else that was right around the neighborhood, and they told me that the two guys in the car were there. So, again, right, I was able to kind of look at things and assess things based on my needs and based on my wants and based on just my emotional intelligence at the time, which was not as sharp as it is right now. And still, I mean, I'm working on my emotional intelligence still. But I will say I was able to say I'm not going to complete this class. I'm just going to wait till I'm 18 because it was not too far along. So that way I can get my license. It's not worth getting hurt. It's not worth losing my life. And so because of that, I was able to, continue. I did sports for the rest of the year. Um, I graduated. I actually graduated valedictorian from Richmond High School in 1993, and so again, it's a story. That's one of my stories that I wanted to share with you, and I think I might have shared a little bit at other times, and so it's crazy that things happen to people, and it's not just life-threatening things. It's not just accidents. It's how you interact with people that you're setting, you're planting seeds that will help you and that will create a larger support system than you think you have. And so by doing what I did, I've learned to adapt a lot. I've learned to take care of, build that two-way street with people that sometimes they're not, they don't have my best interest, but I still build that two-way street because I want to make sure that if push comes to shove, that they'll know that I will support them, and I hope that they would support me. But again, I have that emotional intelligence that if they don't, I can adapt and I can do what I need to do so that way I can succeed in my goals, in my dreams. And so again, emotional intelligence is very important because you want to make sure that you're constantly checking with yourself. How am I doing compared to this? How am I doing compared to that? How am I going to deal with different aspects of life? How am I going to build my support system? Believe me, my support system keeps on growing. And I have people that are very close, and I have people that still support me even years after everything is gone, even years after we lose touch. And so it's very important for you to check yourself, right? How are you emotionally? How is this going to help me get to where I want to get to? If you go into a conversation, how is this? How is my emotional intelligence? How I feel? How I see things? How I see things around me? How is that going to help me get to where I want to get to? And that's one of the things that I'm doing. I mean, I'm using my emotional intelligence right now because I get it, right? This YouTube channel takes a lot of work. And so I have work, right, during the day to complete. And sometimes I have class. Today I had orientation for my teaching credential program. I also had a training for the special ed department at my school and the district. And then after that, I posted for the 2 psychology classes that I teach, or giving you a topic that I think is very important for you to. So I've been checking my emotional intelligence throughout the day because I'm not 100% 100% healthy. And so I had to take breaks. I had to know when I was tired. I had to know when I needed to take a break. So emotional intelligence is very important as you build two-way relationships with your support system and those outside of it. And it will help you adapt as you get to your goals and dreams. So again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Back on Basics 9985. Hit the notification button so that way you can get new video notifications. Hit the like button if you like this topic. If you want something specific, put it in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to give you my take on different topics. So until next time, Back on Basics.